Man, that's a funny looking Mustang. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the channel. And in today's video, we are not building a drift car. We are not working on a drift car. We're not doing nothing with a drift car today. What we got today is a 67 Rebel, and we're going to be replacing this intake manifold, going to a better breathing and performing intake manifold, and also going to an Edelbrock carburetor just for the looks and the aesthetics. So that way it looks good, and that way we can then put this thing up for sale. But in order to do so for today, we're going to drain the oil out. We're going to get the coolant level decently low, because whenever you take the intake manifold off, it's going to dump coolant down into the valley. And then these ain't like a newer motor like LS's and Coyotes, where you could just, you know, the valley's sealed. No, it's all open in here. So when you take the intake manifold off, it dumps coolant down the oil, and now you just ruined all your brand new oil that you just put in the motor. So we're gonna drain the oil, keep it in the side pan that's gonna be nice and clean, and then drain back some of that coolant into a bucket that could be a little bit cleaner, but hey, what do you say? Let's get it done. The original game plan with this was to jack it up so that it was easier to go under. But I don't know, this old car's got so much room for what I'm used to. I think I can just slide right under here with a bucket and just get it done. Because then that'll make working up here a lot easier for me. Because then it's easier to lean over. I'm not having to get on my tiptoes, so we might just do it this way. But this car is going to be a kind of a fun project. It obviously needs to be cleaned up a little bit, but we're going to be not only making this engine bay look a little nicer, you know, we're not restoring this car, but, you know, making it functional, drivable, and, you know, overall, like, hey, you know, somebody wants to buy, you know, like what looks like a historic piece. This is gonna still be, you know, majority original parts. Fuel cell is gonna end up having to get cleaned at some point, so that'll probably be for a later video. But for right now, we're gonna be getting this off. Oh yeah, she's a dirty pig.
ACs, $300 power, and unbearable indoor heat. And one
Typically, when you're working on these old cars, you kind of want to use a car cover for this, but I don't think we're going to ruin the patina on this one. And now let me tell you this. This is another point that just my ADHD brain wants to over-inform me about. How freaking nice was it just to have such a wide fender where you could just, when you do have a car cover on, you could just sit your whole fucking toolbox down on one side, the whole other one there, so you could just sit there and work in one place and just bam, 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 knock it out, lickety split yard. Here's another thing I just thought about too. I drained the radiator. I wonder if this thing's got a thermostat in it, because not a lot of coolant came out, so I'm very curious that when I go to take this out, that block is still going to have the coolant in it anyways. So I just drained this radiator for nothing. Yeah, you know, that's probably what happened. Well, it don't matter. There's no oil in it anyways. When you take this intake off, it's gonna do the same thing it was gonna do anyways. So let's do that. We're inspecting here. Got a little flashlight going here. All the things we gotta get off and out of here. That's gotta come out. It was leaking anyways. This little vacuum port. That's gotta come out. Carburetor's gotta come off. The coal pack. Oh, look at this. That's there ain't no eyelet on that, John. It's a little temperature sensor. The heater hose here and here. Luckily I drained the radiator. So at least that won't be bad, and that one won't be bad. That one back there won't be bad. Well, actually, water pump's right there. That's probably gonna be bad. Whatever, we're still gonna do it. You don't have to take this off, because it's gonna come off anyways. Actually, not very too sure how we're gonna do that next. I don't know. Let's take it out. Let's look at it, inspect it, and then figure out how we swap all this crap onto the new one, and the new one going here. At least half of it. Like, let's figure out the things that we know we need to have on here. And then no problem, man. It'd be easy work, man. All right, we got almost everything off of this intake manifold that is needed off, besides this little guy here. It's gonna end up being, we need to loosen, get that thing freed up more because there's a lot of rust on it. So, sprayed it with some PB Blaster, and we're gonna let that sit for a second just so we can let it loosen itself up. Because these lines like this, it's an old vacuum line, hard line. So trying to break this free, you got a high chance that this is gonna want to snap. Typically, I'd like to use a little bit of heat on this, but I can't seem to find a torch. So we're gonna let this sit here like that for, I don't know, a couple minutes. Let that PB Blaster really get in there, and hopefully we put it back on the wrench. It should just spin right off. Hopefully. We'll see if we get lucky. So far, we've been getting really lucky for all these bolts that have been in here for decades to come right out. The next thing, too, that's also going to need some hope is these bolts here on to take the intake manifold completely off. So we're gonna try to be hopeful here today. I got to do some cleaning, get some of these bolts more freed up than what they are. That one's all covered in water. But yeah, not too big of a situation right now. We'll just let that sit, clean up some stuff, and then break these bolts free and see how easy they go. They're grade 8s, so they're pretty strong. All right. Let's see if we can get lucky. Where'd I put the wrench? All right. Let's see if we can get lucky. She's pretty lubed up now. Slide the line wrench on. Come on, buddy. That's always a promising sign, ain't it? Okay. Got a little turn. Assumption here is that we're gonna have to
Kind of beat this thing back into shape too with this little wrench. Okay, we're getting some movement. Maybe from the wrong thing though, because it looks like it's moving that bottom piece, not moving the top. Let's get another wrench. Look at that, buddy. That's the right thing. Yeah. Now we can use open face. All right. All right. Now we're going to just make sure everything is off and up. I wish I had some of Cletus's disconnectable zip ties up here. I can hold it here and then take it back off, that way I don't waste the zip tie. But we are ready to take this intake off. All right, so we got all the bolts out. I want you guys to see this. Now, if you guys look in, let me get you a better range, there you go. If you look at the crease here from the intake manifold to the valve cover, there is a lot of gunk in here. So with there being a lot of gunk and stuff, you kind of don't want that to be in there whenever you go to take this off, because that's just going to fall directly in the ports. Another thing too, you can see where there has been bad gas used in here. It's gummed up the intake quite bad. So I'm assuming when I pull this off, the valley here, or not the valley, but the ports are going to be pretty gummed up as well. So we're probably going to get in there with a wire brush and a vacuum cleaner, try to get as much of it out as we can. Get a rag, cover up the valley here, and we'll see what all we can see. But a little tech tip for you guys. When you go to pull off an intake like this, you got really stout metal like that, or like this, where the thermostat is, we're going to put something in there, pry up. That's going to get the first portion of it off and unseized. And then we'll grab something in the back here, don't know what yet, and then grab and give a good yank. And then she should be ready to come right out of there. We're going to have to then transfer a temperature gauge, a couple of the vacuum ports. I don't know how we're going to do this hose back here. Not this guy. That one's easy. This dude is all kinds of rusted out. So again, PV blaster, really don't like the way that looks for using that guy. Hold on. For using this guy for the new intake manifold. So I don't know, we're going to see if there's another option that we can use, but this little 290 is actually decently well designed for, yeah, we'll take the light off. It's actually pretty decently designed for what it is. That being for how much vacuum ports are actually being used for in the manifold, instead of trying to just use all your vacuum ports off of your carburetor that you'll see on like most other things. Oh man, this thing's got a magnet. Oh man. I wish I knew that originally. Yeah, guys, look at that. Right in here's all the gunk. Brother, we're going to get all this stuff out of here. Now I can use my other hand, my good hand. All right, enough bull crapping. Let's get this thing taken off, cleaned, get a wire brush, drag it down that line, then try to blow it off with the brake clean, break up whatever's left in there, and then wipe it, and then we should be good to pull it off. Man, that's a damn good seal on there, boy. Hear it popping though, it's coming. They're almost there. But it's factory AMC, so yeah, look at that, it comes right off. All right. Yeah, that's heavy. All right. All right. Well, check this out. I took the valley cover off, and this is the kind of crap that's laying all in here. It's not metal. It's like it's not quite like soot. When you run bath fuel through, when fuel sits for a while, it does this process, and I can't for the life of me remember what it's called right now, but when it burns, it crystallizes kind of like this, and that's not good for the intake. It's not good when this stuff starts hitting the cam in here, but this stuff should never make its way to the cam. Shouldn't, because for one, it had a valley cover, and for two, the intake should seal this off. So it should never ever have this issue. However, all these bolts in here were very questionably loose. Very questionably loose. So, upside with the whole valley cover thing is that I don't think I'm gonna need to clean that much. Besides this right here, if you look down every port, we are very wet. And even over in this area, let's see if I can get you turned here. Even in this area, I don't know how well you can see that, but yeah, you can see it on this one right here, this one. Look down in there on that valve stem. There's just a bunch of old fluid in there. So, what we're going to do with that, we're going to clean it out. Right, clean it out. See what all of this needs cleaning. Clean up some of these valve stems. I mean these push rods here. Like that one, you see all the shit on it. And then clean up the gasket area right there. And on the back half, put a bead of silicone after it's all cleaned, and then reassemble this thing. What you say about it? This won't too bad. About an hour and a half to get the intake manifold off with film and all this stuff. So not exactly a hard job. The harder part is the reassembly portion of this, because you got to make it back exactly how you got it. So we're going to clean this junk up and get a bunch of this crud out, and then be back on Mosey Town. And here's another good tech tip for you. When you're putting on these gaskets,
whenever you're sitting them up here, if you want them just to be able to sit here for when you go to put the intake on and not have to worry about it moving on you, you get you a little bit of silicone and dress in like these main areas like that. That's going to end up with contact on the metal. So that way when you go to put them on, let's see if I can prop this up. You can just come in here, lay it down like so, and then get it to where your bolt holes are all lined up, and then you can just press it all down. Same for this side. Make sure they're all lined. Press it down. And that will make it stay there for you. So when you sit the intake down, you ain't got to worry about it. All right. Let's sit this thing down in here. Just stuck my hand in all that silicone. It's great. It's great. Yeah, so with intakes, you want to start in the furthest in holes, work your way out when you go to do your tightening sequence. Gets for a better spread, seals that gasket a lot better. And then typically you want to give it about a day to cure, so that way you don't have no issues before you fire it up. So we're gonna make sure these are all in their right locations. This one looks like it needs to be moved. We'll be all right. Kind of been trucking along and kind of forgot to film a bunch of stuff, so we're gonna give you a quick update real quick. The carburetor is on. It's not hooked up. We're gonna have to modify the throttle linkage here because the location of where it's at, you're about here, linkage is out here. It's not exactly a straight line, so we probably get a torch, bend this out straight, and use that same nub and mount it to here, and then that should come out straight to this. And then we torque down the intake manifold. It's about, for redneck terms, it's torqued to about, but overall it's about 25 foot-pounds for Edelbrock intakes. That way you don't distort the intake. That's torqued down. We got to find a plug for here, for this little hole here, because this wasn't even on the other intake manifold, so there's no other plug. So we're going to get a plug for that. Few hose. I'm about to put that on and tighten it. Just got that little guy put back in. The factory vacuum line, I just bent it until it worked. And then this is going to be your crankcase bleeder. So that's going to go to this guy right here. The old hose on the 2-barrel. Well, this is what was in the car. It didn't even need that Y block. Probably was for some accessory stuff and that they're not using no more. So we're going to just take this little plastic guy out of the end of it, plug that in, get a new hose, route it up to the right spot. Plug off that one vacuum line, and I think that should be good. I think. I also noticed a bunch of stuff on here was ugly, so we painted it. Painted that little fuel neck, or the oil neck black. Painted the water neck black. And then we're going to slide on the radiator hose, pop that on, and I think we're good to call it for a day. It's about ready. Just needs like 30 more minutes worth of work to get it to run. Because next is going to be the fuel tank. So we're gonna tighten this, tighten that, put that hose back on, tighten that, and then tighten that fuel line. And I'm calling it there until we get parts for the block that off and figure out the throttle linkage. On that, we're good.
Well, I've been out for a couple days, but we're going to go ahead and do the ender here. Grandpa did a little bit of work on it as well, just to go ahead and fix up the throttle linkage and all that stuff that we didn't get to, and put it in the plug. So we're gonna show you guys what all he did, and then we'll close out. So it looks like he welded a little plate here that he could bolt the linkage to here, and then what he welded it to was, it looks like a little U-bolt, and then just tighten 2 nuts on there. It's pretty crafty. I like it. It'll work. It doesn't look all the best, but it worked. And everything clears really well. You put the little block off plug in there. Yeah. That's a good way to do that. Either way, that's going to conclude the swap of this. If you guys like seeing videos like this and want to see the whole journey of everything that we're about to be doing, whether it's classic cars or it's a drift car or whatever we get our hands onto, it could just be us going out in public having fun. So, I don't know, whatever you got, kind of content you guys want to see, list it down below. We're going to have a long journey and a lot of fun. So, subscribe, stay tuned, and we're going to do the best we can to make the most of what we have. So, I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces.